If you enjoy learning the Cherokee language with RSU TV, join our Signal Society. Your monthly gift of $10 a month ensures that RSU TV can continue to produce programs like the Cherokee language classes. Click the link in the description or call 1-800-823-7210 to join today.
Osioni God, and welcome back to Cherokee 2 here at RSU TV. Galielig Negajig Jijed o Kohig. I'm glad that you are all here. So if you'll notice, today we have a special guest. You might remember her from Cherokee 1. This is Miss Kathy Sierra. Osio?
Sio Wade.
Osija?
Ostan hina.
All right, good. So she's going to be helping us today. So we're going to do it a little bit different than we did it last year. She's going to be up here the whole time, and we're going to just talk back and forth. And Kathy, as we go through here, if there are other ways to say things, then we might have a talk about it. Okay. You know, because I know different. Well, it's just like English. You know, everybody has their own way of talking, and
yes.
And we want to be exposed to as much of that as we possibly can.
Yes.
So I believe today we are at Taldusine. Jalaki Adelo Kwaste. We're at the 12th Cherokee lesson. So, come, Idelena, Jalaki Diwoni. So, as you know, we've been working on introductions. We've been working on how we introduce ourselves, the kinds of things that we say, normally if we're in a meeting or that kind of thing, and common things that we talk about in the Cherokee world, for example, who our parents are, where we're from, who our grandparents are sometimes. And so we're going to go ahead and we're going to have Miss Kathy pretend that she's maybe at our consortium meeting. We go to consortium together all the time, which is a group of United Kituwa Band and Cherokee Nation and Eastern Band speakers, fluent speakers, and they all get together. Nuk 4 times a year, and to talk about the language and to talk about new words that are needed maybe for the school or for things like that. And every time we always go around and introduce ourselves. So we're going to have Kathy introduce herself just as she normally would. And so let's see if you can hear and listen and pick out bits and pieces, okay? So.
I was seeing the God, Keladi Dawdo, Jalakigat, Kathy Sierra Dawdo, Yonegigate. Jijalek Alesku Jalek Digeyohas, Diniol, Dintask, Dini Nogisk, Anna Jalakia Yeli, Talsko Ahalatla, Dudet Nagilovstane, Anna Skingadanaha, Halesku Hitzingaweska Wadna, Joiga, Joji Jalek Dogadalka, Doji la we go yata hana kita you walked how you say one in a year wait I will cares neki walked or the close go in a year and no asentleski ogadanela yik sawu yik you did yet you ko hitla tleski ogadanela yik I sent skinona skud Osten dotana ho itika west jalagigat yadaha ni gantanga ho used yiga west jalagigat squeezed dega kevsko I sent skina osten dotana diko well la hiud sahastini san jalagi gadusi jinela nansku digilosa So ika dagi ka diniol jun tano ni god juni laustana diniol duni ka hunas sko ika dagi ka digilis skinna no ni go hila ganelte ho sko stick it to geyote Skuta haiga, no. Wait, nita, no.
What don't? All right, so hopefully she talked about her name both in English and Cherokee. Hopefully you were able to pick that up. If not, then if you look this up on YouTube, you can back it up and listen to it again, try to find the words. She also talked about her work at Cherokee Nation. She talked about her family. She talked about what she does at Cherokee Nation and how long she's been there and those kinds of things. She talked about where she's from and where she lives. So all of that was in there. So hopefully this will help you. And this is to show you that the things that you're learning in class have a real life application. I mean, people use these things, pretty often.
Yeah.
So what don't? So today, this is probably going to be the last part of introductions that we're going to do, and then we're going to switch over to something else. But so when we talk about people that we're married to, so do you say, well, of course you wouldn't, but like Akstayahusk would be like my wife, correct? Akstayahusk, that's like really the one that cooks for me, right?
Yes, it is.
The one that cooks for me. So it's not... well, I guess it's a little sexist, I suppose, but this was the role that traditionally women fulfilled in the family, and so that's what we call them. So if we look at the Cherokee here, it says this agi staya huska akstayahusk is probably the most common way that people would say,
Yes, good done.
This is my wife. Now, if you're a female and you have a husband, this is what I know. Ostinel. And that's just like the guy that lives with me, right?
The guy that lives with me, yes.
Yeah, so it's like the dude that lives with me, Ostinel. But that's the word for husband. I know when I was a kid growing up, my grandpa used to talk about, the way it was, and he said, women had a lot of power, in our families, and he said, if a woman got tired of a man, or she didn't think he was doing what he should, she could put his clothes outside the door, and he had to go off and find something else, and the home was hers, and the property was hers, and so to me this word, this ostinel, kind of talks about that. It's like, well, he don't do much, he just lives there, To me, that's kind of...
He just lives with me.
Yeah,
that's
he
all.
just lives with me. Is there another word for husband that you know? Or this is the one I know. But
In the Bible, it tells us, if I can say it right, akili.
Akili.
Yeah.
Akili.
But I think it's for a wife.
Oh, okay.
Akili. Instead, I believe that's how you say it, but it's in there. But I couldn't tell you where.
Well, maybe we'll try to find it before the end of the course. Maybe we'll try to find it.
Yeah.
So anyway, so for example, if you wanted to talk about your spouse, you would say hi'a Akstayahusk or hi'a ostinel, and then you could tell their name. Peggy Dudon or Mark Dudon, whatever. So that part would be the same. So now, how would you say like I'm single? I don't know how to say that. Like I'm not married or Yeah. Yeah.
Or askayik.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't have a wife. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how a Cherokee man would say if he was not married. And I would say, I don't live with anyone. And that's comical, isn't it? But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
how Cherokee is.
Yeah.
Now that we got Yoneg, no, to like it's a wonis, the
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. So, so now we know how to talk about spouses, and it is kind of, it is funny in a way, but it also, I think, talks really about our culture. And I know a lot of times in Yoneg way, they think about, or at least today we think about marriage in different ways. But I think a long time ago, they thought about marriage more as a relationship,
partnership, not a contract, not a paper contract.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And that partnership could dissolve at any time if you weren't holding up your end of the bargain.
Yes.
And I know I like to read like our traditional stories a lot. And it talks about that women looked for good hunters and people that could provide for both her and her family, her mother and the women in her family.
Yes.
And that was important. So I think the role of marriage is different now,
Yes,
and
it is.
And so I think that's really interesting. So the next thing that we usually talk about in our class is we go over some Cherokee that you can use at home immediately. These are things like that I use with my daughter. These are things that you can use with your kids. You can use, in your household. Things like hiege, and hawk squads and, those kinds of things. And so today we're going to talk about going and getting something, okay? So we have, this is a really interesting one because they're spelled the same, but they're said differently. So we're going to talk about that today. So if you want to tell them, go get your coat, okay, or something like that. So let's look at the syllabary. We have he, we, ne, gi, okay? But we would say huinegi. Huinegi. Gasoline huinegi. Go get your coat, right? Go get your coat. But if you're going to go get something like a drink, adi toast, right? A drink. Again, if you look here, the syllabary is exactly the same. He, we, ne, gi. But if you'll notice, I made one thing yellow. I made the gi yellow here, and I put the ne yellow here. And this is to help you know that it's pronounced differently. Huinegi. Go get something like aditos huinegi. Go get a drink.
Yes.
So they're the same, but said differently.
Yes.
And it takes, I know whenever I was just beginning my learning, my aunties and people in my community that were helping me learn, they would say things, and I was like, that sounds exactly the same. I can't hear a difference, But now that I'm exposed to it more, I can hear the difference. And so that's for you that are learning as well. Just listen to it. Listen to it more. The more you listen to it, the more your ear will start to fine tune and pick out those differences in how things are said, because that's very, very important.
Yeah. It's all about listening.
Yes.
And how, where
and the tone.
Yes, the tones go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk about it when we get over here. But so we have huinegi and huinegi. Okay, so you can hear slight difference. Would you say them both for me? So go get like a coat.
Huinegi.
Okay, and then how about going and get a glass of milk?
Huinegi.
Okay, so can you hear the difference? I can hear the difference, but probably even 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to hear the difference. I'd be like, oh, it sounds the same to me.
And when we say it, it's like we just know the difference, so we don't even think about it. Might sound different because
Yeah.
when we tell my grandchild, "Wheneki gasalani," ama whenega.
Yeah.
It's just well, you
don't think about it.
No, don't
Yeah.
think about it when you're a
Yeah.
speaker.
Yeah.
But when it's written down like this and you're trying to teach, that's when you
Yeah.
see all these that are so alike.
Yeah.
And then you have to, and that's why Cherokee is so hard to teach.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But
Absolutely, and I know Miss Peggy, who I have worked with for many years for with JOM and then later through language. She said that too, because she's a teacher. She teaches at she taught at Grandview and she taught at Cave Springs and she taught at different places. And she said that too. She said, always before I just talked. She said I never thought, but then when I had to teach it, it would make me aware. I'm like, oh, okay. So I have some words over here. See, these are some words that you can use, but let's try to figure out whether we're going to use huinegi or huinegi, okay? So we have gasoline, that's a coat, okay, gasoline. So would gasoline be huinegi, the top one, or would it be huinegi, the bottom one? I think it would probably be the top one, huinegi. Gasoline huinegi. Okay? And then we have ahnowo, okay, our shirt, ahnowo. Would ahnowo be huinegi or huinegi? It would again be the top one, huinegi. What about unadi or unud? Unud. Do you say unud or unadi?
Unud.
Unud, me too. Yeah, unud. So if you would tell them, go get some milk, okay, would you say huinegi or huinegi? Okay, it would be the bottom one, huinegi. And then adi tosti, that's just any kind of drink. It could be a soda, it could be coffee, it could be anything, really. Just something to drink. So which one do you at home think it should be? Huinegi. So, adi tosh huinegi. Go get a drink. What about go whale? So, you notice here this says something flexible and something liquid. Okay, so something flexible doesn't have to be fabric. Okay, it can also be like a piece of paper. Go whale, huinegi. Go get that paper. Okay, go whale huinegi. Okay, and then we have, and this is another word that pronunciation makes a difference. We have ama, and then we have So, we have, they sound the same. We have ama and ama.
So would you say ama?
Huinegi. Oh, no, huinegi.
Huinegi. And then ama.
Ama. Huinegi. Or there's another one.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it in the next lesson, so, because I have it on here. It's.
Huisleki or, it's, because it wouldn't be one of those.
Yeah. Okay, so, ama. Short, when you say it kind of short, is water. Okay, if you kind of draw the first part out, salt. So be aware of that. And I think we've talked about that in Cherokee 1. Yes. So, because that's usually the most common, when people talk about the importance of pronunciation, usually that's the first example people think of as salt and water.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. So this is the review. This was the story that we just finished. So I'm going to read my way kind of through it, and then we're going to go to Miss Kathy, and we're going to talk to her about it as well, because this is the first time you're seeing it. So it says, Jalak. Let me put my glasses on. So, Ajalak u tasona G stun u weya Degani Yiska. Didani Yisk Agale Wisto Dane Du Hyoha. John Tosh Eska Gesa Giston Digani Ti Ahan Uweya Udane Didani Yiski. Kla Yidijini Giston. That's hard to say.
That's hard to say. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, Giston Didani Yiski Udane Utasona. Agwan Hodgkonsk De Jigote Giston Uljat Dehia Udane Didani Yiski. He in Giston Udane Utasona. Danelada Junagid Junanagid Dejina Claida Iga Yinulstan Degajia Tino Hi Hon Degajia Tino Hi Hon Ahan Uweya Una Dawosti Da Degadeyo Husk. So we'll talk about this page and then we'll go on to the next page. So Ajalak Utasona Gistan Uweya Degani Yiska. What do you think, what does that mean to you?
Ajalak utasona gistan uweya degani yiska. An old man was getting crawdads from the creek.
Yep. He was catching crawdads. Didani Yiski Agalewi Sto Dane Du Hyoha.
The policeman stopped him from looking.
Yeah, he stopped him from looking for him, yeah. John Tosh Eska Gesa Gistan Digani Ti Ahanuwe Udane Didani Isk.
Do you know it's wrong to hunt crawdads here in this creek? Said the policeman.
Okay. Tla Yidijini Gistan Didani Isk Udane Utasona.
I'm not catching crawdads.
Officer.
Officer.
Yeah, I just say
officer.
Yeah, Mr.
Said
Policeman.
the old man.
And we'll talk about this word in a
Yeah.
minute, but Agwant Hadskosk. De Jikoti Gistan Uljat Dehia Udane Didani Isk.
I know you're lying. I see the crawdads in your bucket that you are holding, said the officer.
Yeah. He in Gistan Udane Utasona.
These crawdads, said the old man.
Danelada Junanagid Dejina Claida Ika Yinulstan Degajia Tino Hi Hon Ahan Uweya Unadawo Stida Unadawo Stida. There it is, Unadawo Stida Degadeyo Husky.
I brought them from home. They are my pets. When day comes, I bring them here to the creek so they can swim, so I can teach them to swim.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so let's see what else it says. Tla yawohi yu do gesa udane didani isk unlenehe dase hiha distan uljat aniya ahan jaksostest udane utusona uweya widega gioskon hisk yitawostana andawoskon nowu anilugon dejini yiskon hawa winandega udane didani isk jat gistan kali dutina sa uweyidid utasona we do jewa nigard gistan uweya Hisk yitawos tana ulos didani iskutadene hawa hadla jistan. Jistan niki udane utasona. Okay? All right. So tla yawohi udoge sa udane didani iskud.
I don't believe you, the officer said.
Okay. Unlena he da se hi ha jistan uljat ania.
He started counting the crawdads that were in the bucket.
Ahan joksas dest udane utasona.
Just watch, said the old man.
Uweya videgagios hisk yitawos tana anda wosko no wu anilu go dijini isko.
I'd put them in the creek. 5 minutes, they swim for 5 minutes, and they come back, and I catch them.
Hawa winandega udane didani isk.
Okay, dump. Is that what
Yeah,
that's supposed to mean?
yeah.
Put them in the creek,
Yeah, put 'em in
said
the-
the officer.
Winandega. Uljat jistan kali dutina sa uweyatid utasona we do jewa ni god jistan uweya.
So he took the bucket of crawdads, the full bucket of crawdads, to the creek, and the old man threw them into the creek.
Okay. Hiski tawos tana ulos didani iskutadane hawa hadla jistan.
After 5 minutes, the officer asked, "Okay, where are the crawdads?"
Jistan niki udane utasona.
Crawdads, said the old man.
All right. So, would you do us a favor, and would you read the story for us?
Sure.
All right. So maybe go a little slow because we're all still learning here.
Okay.
And so, all right. So everybody, let's listen, and she'll tell the story as well.
Ajalek utasona jistan uweya dekani yiska. Didani yisk aga lewistotana duhyoha. Jantis eska gesa jistan diganite ahanuweya udane didani yisk. Tla yidi jitni jistan didani yisk udane utasona. Agwant hadskoska, de go to jistan uchat, de hiya, udane di dani yisk. He inna jistan udane utasona. Danelde ju na nikit, deji na la ida, iga yi nulstan, dega gia tinohi ho ahan uweya, una da wosti da dega dehyo husk. Tla yawohi dogesa udane didani yisk, lena he da sehi ha jistan uchate aniya. Ahan jagsestesti udane utasona. Uweya wudi gaji yoskon hisk yitawostana ana da woskon no wu anilukon dejini yiskon. Hawa winandaga udane didani yisk. Aljati jistan kali du tenesa uwaya dila utasona. Widu jewe negad jistan uwaya. Hiskit tawostana ulos didani yisk utadane. Hawa hasla jistan. Jistaniki udane utasona.
Wato, that's great. All right, that's really cool. I notice, and this is something that I find really interesting. When we talk about the past, there are two ways to talk about it. Because some people use at the end to talk about things that have happened already, and some people use Some people use them differently. So, for example, like do tina son, do tina say. To you, is there a difference between them, or is it just?
No, there's not. To me, it's just the way you say it.
Yeah.
But the meaning is still the same.
The same, yeah. And I noticed that Durban Feeling talked about that as well, and he talked about that a lot of times when people are telling stories that they didn't see themselves, that didn't happen to them, they use more often than and I think that that's really interesting. But but I know other speakers that don't.
Yeah, and it probably you just don't really.
You just don't think about it, yeah. So that's just to let you as a learner know that whether they use or really, for all intents and purposes, it's going to mean the same thing to you.
Yeah.
So just be aware. So then I have the story all in syllabary, but we're not going to do that today. We've done that before, so we're gonna move past this. All right. So one of the things that I like to do is I like songs, and I like to teach using songs because, of course, I teach a lot of kids, and songs are a great way for people to remember words. And so today. And in the next couple lessons, we're going to work on a couple songs. So this first, tohi gehesti, that means, that's a more polite way of saying be quiet, right?
Yeah.
Because, of course, there's another word we say etlawe, right? And that's like shut up, right? I mean, right, But you can also say ton gehesti, or you can say ton nijadane hest. Which one do you use with your grandkids?
Well,
or do you say etlawe? Yeah.
But like if they're too loud, sometimes I'll say toke seste.
Yeah. And to me, and this can also be like kind of like calm down, right? Settle. Yeah. Because I use etlawe with my daughter, but I use toni jadane hest, or I'll say toni hest.
Toni jadane hest.
Yeah.
Like sit still.
Yeah.
Don't be rowdy.
Yeah. Yeah, I use that. And so, but then there's toge hest, and we use that here because this is a part of a song and it fits in the song. So, and this is another way of saying, be quiet. Okay, so here's a word. It's a little bit controversial, but it's written down, so we're going to present it to you. Yanwi Junsti. Okay, Yanwi, we've learned before, that means people. Junsti means they're small. Okay, so Yanwi Junsti is our word for little people.
Yes.
I grew up. We believe in little people where I'm from. Sometimes we won't use this word. We'll use another word. We use the word skili for just anything, like that. That's maybe not explainable, I guess. But I do know that there are some people that that say you shouldn't talk about them.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And we're going to talk about why I introduced this word a little bit later, but
well, there's good little people. My grandma always told me that they were good.
Yeah.
Because I would be scared going to get a bucket of water at the creek and hearing noises, and she'd just tell me, "Oh, it's just the little people. They're busy, but they're not going to bother you. You know, they're busy. So I want to know." God.
Yeah. Well, and that was the same with me. My grandma, she would say, "Well, just be nice to them, and they'll be nice to you."
Don't bother them.
Yeah, and they won't bother you. And so that's how I grew up as well. But I know some people don't or think differently. So we jena. All of y'all go. If you're just talking to one person, huena, right? For didana na did huena, go towards town, right?
Butena so buena.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah, go home. Yeah, utle huena, go away. We jena, all of y'all. All of y'all go. Doye did, we jena.
Yes.
Y'all go outside.
And play.
Yeah. So this is another something that you can use at home a lot, especially if you have more than one kid. Tell them all, we jena. Doye did, we jena. Go outside.
Yes.
Agwenasa, my home. Agwenasa. Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
I mean, agwenasa. Do you say agwenasa or aquenasa?
I say di buenas.
Diguenasa.
Di buenas is how I'd say it.
Yeah.
And this word too is the same as I went.
Yeah, I went.
Abuenasa.
Yeah, agwenasa.
So it's you just gotta, you better learn.
Yeah, yep, exactly. Just be exposed to it. The more we hear it, the more it makes sense. Galiladid, upward. Galiladid. If you're a person who goes to Cherokee church, or you're into hymns in Cherokee and you listen to the children's choir, this word Galilat or Galiladi is in a lot of songs.
Yes, yes.
So,
You'll hear that word a lot.
yes, so it's a good word to know, and this deed means in that direction. Okay, so Galilat is up, Galiladid in the direction of up.
Yes.
Dayulosa, they come from, right?
Yes.
Dayulosa. Now, here's a different one. Okay, anidawehi. These some people say that that's like the wise ones, you know, and then some people use this for angels, but there's another word for angels as well. Which do you use this word for angels, or do you use the other one?
I use the other one because the hymns.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah.
Being the hymn teacher, I use that word a lot. Dini kano dito.
Yeah. Dini kanodi.
That ones that look over you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one that I usually teach with.
Yeah. And let's go ahead and let's just add this real quick. So we're going to exit out, and we're going to add that di ni ka
Dini ka.
no di don't, and we're going to, is that right?
Dini kano.
We're going to make this a little smaller.
Dini kano. It's I think a W.
No.
Yeah.
No. Di don't. And that's literally like the ones that watch over you. I'm gonna make this bigger, so.
There you go.
Yeah, we got it there now. Okay. All right. So anidawehi, and that's more like the wise ones and stuff. Before this is an old word. Anidawe. That's a really old word that we've had, you know, long time. Dini kano dini kano di don't, the ones that watch over you. Okay, so there we go. Okay. Oh, he klena. Sleep. He klena. Now, if you put a w sound, hui klena, that means like go to sleep,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Kind of like saying, almost like go to bed, isn't it? Hui
Yeah,
klena.
Hosanna.
Go to bed.
Yes.
He klena, just you sleep. Okay. So those are the words to this song. This is an old Scottish lullaby called Baloo Balleary. That's in Scots Gaelic. And so I thought this would be a fun one to translate into Cherokee, because we have a close connection with Scots, the Scottish people, and there are a lot of mixed blood Cherokees that have some Scottish blood in them because the Scottish people came and they were traders and those kinds of things. So really quickly, we have about 10 minutes, so let's see if we can get through the song. So I wrote it in syllabary because remember, I'm trying to learn my syllabary better, and so I'm trying to force myself to read syllabary more. So the tune, this says, Tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi, tohi. Okay, so that's the first line.
Right.
So that's I like that. It sounds good in Cherokee, I think.
Yeah.
So then the next one, this says, Yunwi junsti wijena. Yunwi junsti wijena. Yunwi junsti wijena. Agwena sai. Okay, so the tune for this is Yunwi junsti wijena. Yunwi junsti wijena. Yunwi junsti wijena. Agwena sai. Okay, so that's that line. And what that line means, Yunwi junsti wijena, go away, little people. Go away, little people. Go away, little people. Agwena sai, from my home, right? So, and I'm going to tell you a little bit. This song in Scots Gaelic, there it was kind of a prayer. It was to ask for the angels to guard their children, because they had a belief that fairies would come and steal their children and in the night. And so that's why in the original Gaelic it says, go away little fairies from our home, because they were protecting their children.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so that's
Makes
kind of the
sense.
story.
Yeah.
And so then here we have this one again. Tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi, tohi. Okay, and then the next one. Okay, this is Galiladid Dayulosa. Galiladid Dayulosa. Galiladid Dayulosa Ani Dawehi. Okay, so Galiladid Dayulosa. Galiladid Dayulosa. Galiladid Dayulosa Ani Dawehi. Okay, so that means come from up above, angels, right? Come down from up above, you angels. Okay, so that's kind of what that one means. And then, of course, we're going to do the chorus again. Tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi, tohi. Okay, and then this says, tohi hitlana, tohi hitlana, tohi hitlana. Agwena sai. Okay, so tohi hitlana, sleep quiet or sleep peaceful.
Yeah.
Right? Sleep
Yes.
peacefully.
Peacefully.
Yeah. So sleep peacefully. Agwena sai, in our home.
Yes.
In my home.
Yes.
Right? So tohi hitlana, tohi hitlana, tohi hitlana, agwena sai. And then they end by repeating the chorus last time. Tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi gesti, tohi, tohi. Okay?
Good.
So that's the whole song, and we made it in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So we made it all the way through. I was worried that we wouldn't make it through, but I think one of the interesting things, I know that traditionally we had to have songs that mothers sang to their babies, you know, to put them to sleep and things like that. And I know there are a few. There was a CD done, I don't know what, maybe 10 years ago. It's been a while now, that had songs on it. I know it had Usti Yona on there, and
it's been
it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
But for those of you at home, if you can find that, it has traditional Cherokee songs. I mean, these are songs that have been in families and things like that. Unfortunately, though, I think we've lost a lot of those things.
We have.
You know. So this song, just to make you aware, again, it's not a traditional Cherokee song. It's actually a Scottish lullaby, but the Cherokee words fit in it really well.
Yeah.
You know, so this is, and it's a great way to learn because it's got some language in it that I think people can use quite often. You know, and so we're going to go through and we're just. Really quickly, would you go ahead and do our notes page? So this is for those of you that like to take notes. Again, remember, I don't make you take notes. You don't have to take notes. I think it's better if you just try to listen and absorb. But I also know there are some people who that's their personality and they want to take notes, and that's fine. And so this is your page for those of you who want to do that. So you can pause it, you can print it out, and Miss Kathy's going to read these to us today.
Sa agayi tohi gehesti yawi junsti we jena agwenasa Galalati la Dayulosa Atawehi Hislana.
What don't? Thank you so much. So when we come back next time in our next class, we're going to go back over this song. So if you didn't get it this time, that's fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to go over it again as a review. As you know, we always review. You can't hear the language enough. That's the most important thing. You can't hear it often enough. So when we come back next time for our 13th lesson, Jokatusine, Adel Kwaste, then we will go through it again, and then we'll start another song. And this one's actually a Czech song from Czechoslovakia that we put into Cherokee, and we kind of twisted it around a little bit. But it's a song, Chijetsku, which is the word for a little bird that's common in Czechoslovakia, called a linnet. And we changed it to a turkey because that's our common bird. So when we come back, we're gonna and it's a long song, so it's gonna take us a couple lessons to get maybe even more to get through that whole song. But I think that'll be a lot of fun too, and we'll have little actions.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and it'll have actions, and so it's a great one for kids, I think. So. Anyway, so do you want to say goodbye to everybody and all that kind of stuff?
All right,
do the dago hai jadok sas desti. Wadon.
Wadon.